Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Space City Yarn Knitting Podcast. My name is Jana, and I am a knitter from Houston, Texas. I work in payroll, but knitting is my passion, and I love everything yarn and fiber arts, and am really happy to be here to share that with all of you. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm so happy to have been interacting with those of you who have commented on my previous episodes. That's what I'm doing this for, to connect and get to know those of you out there in the world who aren't here in my little sphere of knitting community. I am, if you're new, I've been recording usually trying to record every Friday, but life has been pretty complicated lately. So today is Sunday. It's in the evening, much later than it usually is. It's a little darker than usual. But today was quite a busy day. It wasn't busy in a not fun way. Today was date day for me and my husband Josh. This morning we dropped my son off at his part-time job. He worked most of the day today, so we dropped him off at his job, and then we went and enjoyed some time together. We went to a place here in town called the Roastery. It is a Middle Eastern Turkish coffee crepe spot. It's more than just a coffee place. They have coffee and they have crepes and waffles and pretty gelato, but they also have Turkish delight. They have Turkish baklava. They've got roasted nuts. They've got all kinds of spices and tea that you can buy in bulk by the pound. They also have lots of chocolates and little sweet treats, and it's pretty much the most amazing place. So we had a lot of fun. We had coffee and a waffle, and then they give you samples. Like, you can sample anything there in the cases, any of the Turkish delight, any of the baklava, anything. You want to taste some of the roasted nuts, the gelato, they will give you samples of anything you want. So we sampled quite a lot and came home with several different flavors of Turkish delight. I brought home some really, really tasty Turkish baklava. It's delicious, the best I've ever had. And so we enjoyed that this morning, and then we went to a place I like to go in town called the Pink Swan Shop. It is a little jewelry place. They've got 2 locations, but there's one on North Shepherd that I really, really love, and I buy a lot of my jewelry there. So today, I don't know if I'm gonna get a little closer and see if you can see this little earring here in my second hole. I bought these earrings there today. I also bought a ring. I'm not wearing it. It's in my jewelry box, but I bought a ring. I have this. They do permanent jewelry, so this I have on always. It's permanently fixed around my neck, and then I have 2. I don't know. It's easy to see. 2 permanent bracelets that I have on. They put them on. They have different chains. Like, this one is hearts, and then this is just a rose gold chain. And they have you can do different little charms and stuff. This one is just a pink jewel, and that one's my little Sagittarius arrow. But I love that place. I go there all the time. I say all the time, I go there quite a bit. I love it there. I'll put the links to both the Royal Roastery and the Pink Swan shop down below. I say that a lot, and I'm really bad about not doing that. I am trying to be better. I'm gonna try my best to do show notes, guys. I get very eager to get this posted after I finish recording, and don't want to take the time to do show notes. It's so awkward. I don't know, do I just put them in the description? A lot of other podcasts I watch, they do a lot of different things, and I just feel like if it could just magically show up and be in the notes somewhere in the description here or somewhere, it would be great. But this time I'm going to do my best. I'm going to watch back the episode, make notes while I watch it, and then I will, because I have plans to edit the video pretty well and do some inserted clips and pictures for this episode. But and so while I'm doing that, I'll take notes and make sure I put everything in. But that was my day. We did go grocery shopping too, so that took a while. We had nothing in the refrigerator, which is weird for us because we love to go grocery shopping. We love H-E-B or any grocery store really. And we love to go shopping for food and find fun things to eat. And so it was weird that we had nothing in the refrigerator, but we've been so busy this week. Josh has been working quite a lot. And I also have been very busy this week doing a lot of different things. So we didn't have time during the week to go grocery shopping like we usually do. Even just to like top up, like, hey, we're out of a few things. I'm out of cottage cheese, or we need more bread, that kind of thing. We'd just pop over to the grocery store and get it. But this week was not like that. So we did a full like $200 trip to the grocery store today. But we're all stocked up, and that makes me happy. We also were almost out of my favorite coffee. Our Ruta Maya coffee was getting down to the last pot. And so we got a new bag of that. That's what I'm drinking in my cat mug. Ruta Maya coffee, the dark roast from H-E-B. And I have maple syrup in it today, guys. My friend Jane, Jane's so funny. She said she feels kind of like she's my imaginary friend right now because I talk about this Jane character often enough, but nobody's ever seen Jane. Does Jane even exist? Is she all in my head? But she does exist, and she watches this podcast. She watches and she pays attention. And so when I mentioned a couple of episodes before that I ran out of maple syrup to put in my coffee, she, at one of our weekly meetings, brought me a jar about that big of maple syrup from Canada. And I'm halfway done with it. I've been using it. It's delicious. And I just love it so much. I'm still gonna order some from Maine because I do like that maple syrup from the Marcos family farm. So I'm gonna order some more of that. But at any rate, that's what I'm drinking because we got some coffee at the store today. I guess I have a little setup here, so I wrote down a bunch of notes to keep me on track today because we are gonna stay on track. And I have things that I want to mention that I think about during the week, and I write down because I want to tell you guys, and I want to remember to share things with you, but I always forget something. So I wrote notes down. I may be looking down every now and then just to make sure I'm remembering to tell you all the things I meant to tell you. But talking about my week was something. Speaking of the week, Jane and I meet every week for knitting and just getting together. But we've she's been helping me with a special project the last little while. And I mentioned last week that I started a small business, and she is helping me build this small business. It's very small right now because it's still in the like foundational, here's what we're doing to get to the end goal kind of phases right now. But slow and steady wins the race, right, guys? We're not in a rush. We're not in a hurry. We're really excited about the fun things that we've been working on and talking about every week. And one of those things is we really both feel very passionate about the knitting community here in Houston. And we both have a lot of friends and know a lot of people who just sometimes haven't really, either there's not any groups nearby, or the groups that are nearby aren't just isn't what they are looking for, maybe. People gather and we get together, and you either feel like those are your people or you don't. And Jane, we were talking about it, and Jane, called it finding your tribe. And we really wanted to be able to put together a community and be a place where people who haven't found their tribe can go and get together and create and share with each other and inspire each other. And not just with knitting. We get together because we love knitting or crocheting. We love fiber arts and yarn. But we end up building relationships that include much more than just that. Like for instance, Jane and I, we met through my husband, Josh. Josh's friend is in the knitting group with Jane and but I'm the newest member of that knitting group, because when Josh and I started dating, he introduced me to his friend, Erin, who is in our knitting group, and she knows the other members of our knitting group. They get together and they invited me to join them. What started out as just me joining a small knitting group, every week, every other week, has turned into much more than that. And I really treasure the friendships that I've formed with them. And, look where it's taken us. Something that just started out as a get together to knit has turned into this project with Jane. And, but that's what we really want. For other people. We want other people to feel that way. And so we want to facilitate that. And so one of our first projects as Space City Yarn was to establish a meetup group that meets inside the Loop in Houston. If you're not local, I mean, not most cities, but a lot of cities, you'll have a freeway that circles the city. Houston has now 3 of those. It's got an inner loop we call the 610 loop, which is closer and it's a smaller area. And then outside that is the Beltway 8. And then even bigger, that surrounds like the greater Houston area, is what we call 99. And inside the 610 loop, which is inside the loop, is kind of the area / demographics / group we're going for right now. We all kind of live and function inside the loop, me and Jane and our group, and There are a lot of groups, outside the loop and outside the Beltway, but we really wanted to bring some community into the loop. And not that we're the only people having meetups inside the loop, but the more the merrier, right? So at any rate, we, in an effort to do this, we've scheduled our first meetup. I should have mentioned earlier, you can find me in Space City Yarn on Instagram at Space City Yarn. And I have a link tree. I'm going to link it below. We don't have a website yet. We're working on that. That will be coming soon. Once we do have a website, I'll share that with you. But right now, it's just Instagram that I'm functioning out of. So if you want to, stay up to date with any events that are happening, of course, I'll mention them here on the podcast. But the more regular updates and information will be on Instagram. But in my link tree, if you're local, come out and join us. We're going to be meeting December 8th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to be meeting at St. Arnold's Brewery. And we are just going to get together, enjoy each other's company, bring your projects, whether you knit, spin, weave, crochet, embroider, whatever you are working on, cross stitch, bring it on, and come sit with us for a little bit. We are going to meet for those 2 hours. We also, it's a meetup, and a fun little opportunity to participate in a workshop to make a project together. Jane is an amazing little pattern designer, and she just comes up with the best things. It's so cute. For this meetup, she is going to be offering kits to do a candy cane ornament. This candy cane ornament pattern is something she put together, she designed, and this one is a tester one, so it's not the final one. This is one that she had me do just to test the pattern and see, and I didn't do that great of a job, but it's still cute. The pattern's amazing and lovely. It's a fun, quick holiday activity, and she's going to have kits available at the meetup for $5. The kits will include all of the yarn needed to do this. It will include all of the just various materials, a little hook for the ornament, and stuffing, and it includes a copy of the pattern as well. Originally, and I have to update Instagram and post something on Instagram. Originally, all we had was the one for knitting, but we have crocheters who are wanting to come to the meetup, and so Jane is working on a crochet version of this pattern, this activity. So all that you would need to bring is size 6 DPNs or a circular needle for the to do the project. We aren't including needles in the kit, and a darning needle. If you don't have needles that size or a darning needle, I will have a few extras at the meetup to loan out. However, I don't have a bunch of them, so depending on how many people show up to the event, already we have 6 RSVPs, so 6 people are gonna come join us, but the more the merrier. You're all welcome. Please come join us. Send me a message on Instagram if you can't find the RSVP. The RSVP is in my link tree. In my link, follow the link to my link tree, and the place to RSVP is there. But we're excited. We're gonna have fun. I just as a a fun thing, I've got a few little fun things planned for those who show up. Just as a, hey, welcome. We're so glad you're here. We want to keep seeing you. We hope you feel welcomed kind of thing planned. But we're super excited about where this is going to go. We really want to connect with our local community and really get to know those who are like-minded, of the same, kind of in similar life stages and frames of mind as us, and we feel really passionate about it. So that's what we're working on. This is my, just as we're talking about it, this is my only finished object for this week because of all the work we've been doing outside of just regular work. My job is a payroll specialist and Space City Yarn. It's 2 jobs. It's keeping me busy. But that's my only finished object. I thought I would start with just that because that's my FO for the week. But I made some purchases and I wanted to share those with you. Last week, Jane and I went to one of our local yarn shops. We went and I purchased this. I know I've been talking about socks the past couple of episodes. I'm obsessed with socks right now, knitting socks. That is something that I've been just like, I want to do this really badly. So I had my eye on this book called The Sock Project by Summer Lee. She's at Summer Lee Design Co. on Instagram. And this book I've been reading through it, and looking at it online, I thought, oh, that's going to be really cool. But I had no idea how cool it was going to be. It is bright and colorful, just like I like. I love bright and colorful. And it's full of really pretty, beautiful, bright illustrations of all the socks. And it's got really great information. So it's got 25 patterns included in it, but along with the patterns, it has several sections. It's got section 1 is materials, sizing, and fit. Talks about all the materials you'll need, sizing and fit, how to figure out how best to knit the sock to fit your foot and your foot's dimensions, how to measure. It's very detailed. It's very helpful. Information that I just never... Knitting socks feels intimidating when you're first starting out. At least it did for me. And sometimes it still does. I don't know if you guys watched the last episode, you'll have seen, I thought that I could do 54 stitches, cast on 54 stitches and have it fit me great, but no. So I had to go back up to 64. She talks a lot about like it eliminates a lot of the mystery of sock knitting, but it talks about the basics of sock knitting, the makeup of socks, like the anatomy of a sock, basically. And then in the back, and then it has all of the patterns in like for all kinds of different socks. But it also has instructions on how to care for your socks. It's got instructions for the different kinds of heels that you can knit on your sock. It's got a toe up recipe with a Flegel heel, the German short row heel, the afterthought heel, a heel flap, and gusset, all kinds of things. And just, of course, the colors are beautiful. You can see as I flip through all the colors, and just, it's so, can't recommend this book enough, guys. I can't wait to dive into it in, detail myself, because next year is my year of socks, 2025, the year of socks, right, for Jana. I also, while on that same trip, I had been looking for a project bag for my socks, because I want to be able to take them with me, but not shove them just down into my purse, loosey-goosey and all that stuff. So I just wanted a little project bag that was big enough for one skein and my socks. And I came across this. Isn't it cute? It's just a cute little handmade zipper bag. It's the prettiest fabric, and it's lined with like a canvas, like tote bag material. It's big enough for my skein and the socks that I am knitting. And it fits really great in there. I'm really happy with it. I've been carrying it around for a week now, and it's perfect. So those I bought last week. I also, yesterday I had plans. I've been seeing, so Stitches and Stem, Michaela, who does the Stitches and Stem podcast, love her so much, had been working on and just finished, I believe, the Sweet Shop blanket. And so I had that pattern in my library. I've had it there for a little while now. I think because I first heard about it, I guess it was Instagram. Most patterns I hear about are either from a podcast or Instagram. But you know what? Aro from Aro Knits and Pearls had done a pillowcase, or had talked about the pillowcase, the pillow cover, by the same designer. And so when I went to the designer's Ravelry shop to get the pillow cover design pattern, I saw the Sweet Shop blanket, and so I got both. I got the pillowcase cover and the Sweet Shop blanket pattern, and that I'm going to knit the rectangular lap blanket, which is 48 squares, and each square takes 20 grams, it says, of a DK weight. So either a DK or a fingering held double. And so in the way the squares are designed, it's half a main color and half a contrast color. And so they said if you do it that way, the way the pattern is, ultimately, like, you should have 10 grams of the main color per square and 10 grams of a contrast color per square. And because each square has 10 grams of the main color, the way the pattern is, the contrast there, you should have several contrast colors, and so you won't need as many of one color of the contrast color, as much of one of the contrast colors as you will need for just the main color. But basically, depending on how many squares you have, 10 grams per square is how much you need for main color. So I've been putting it off because I don't have enough DK in one color to do the main color, and I have other yarn priorities when it comes to purchasing yarn. And so the Sweet Shop blanket wasn't as high on my priority list as some other things that I've purchased yarn for lately. And so I had to go to Hobby Lobby for a couple of things. And when I got there, I saw that they were having a sale on yarn. And now I say I'm not a yarn snob, but I can be. Like, I would rather buy yarn from, you know, a dyer, somebody local, somebody support somebody's small business, and have, you know, hand dyed yarn or just something that I really am excited about, as opposed to acrylic from, I mean, nothing's wrong with acrylic, nothing's wrong at all. It is wonderful to use. And for example, perfect example, the yarn was on sale at Hobby Lobby, and so I found this Yarn Bee Simply Flawless. The color is called Mist. It's like a silvery gray kind of neutral color. But so I got enough of this to be my main color for my Sweet Shop blanket, and I have a lot of fingering and stash that I'm going to use with it for my Sweet Shop, so I didn't have to buy any of the contrast colors. I already had that. But I've been having a lot of fun going through my stash looking for colors to go with this for my Sweet Shop, and I can't, you know, it's not going to be one that I finish anytime soon. It's going to be ongoing because I have other works in progress, obviously. And so this will just be like a palette cleanser kind of thing to work on every now and then when I feel like it. And so I'm pretty excited to have gotten this yarn. It's nice and soft. It's just 100% low pill acrylic. It's a number 3 on the scale. It's 198 grams and 420 yards per skein. So I got a few of these, but while I was there, I had a couple of other items catch my eye. These lovely friends here, I don't know if you can see, but they've got sparkle in them. These are the Yarn Bee Sugar Wheel Sparkle. This color is Parisian Sweet Shop. Makes me think of unicorns, and we know Jana loves unicorns. And this one's called Light Show. But it is also very colorful and beautiful. I love bright colors. And so I saw these and thought, I have to have it. Don't know what I'm gonna do with them. If you guys have any ideas or like know of any patterns that would be really good for something like this, let me know. I'd be interested to know if you guys have any ideas or fun patterns to do. But I couldn't, it was this on sale, and so I picked those up. It was a fun trip to Hobby Lobby. It's dangerous, but I did it. Those are my purchases. I did purchase one other thing. So I don't know if I've been complaining about the state of my needles and their the lack of organization, and that I needed to do something about it because I know I have a bazillion needles in all the sizes, various like types of needles in various sizes, but I never know where they all are. They're just higgledy-piggledy everywhere. And so when I was at Hobby Lobby, I had seen this idea online somewhere, and I just, in the back of my mind, I kept saying, oh, I'll do it eventually, but I really did it this time. This is a photo organizational box that you can get at Hobby Lobby. It's for photos. It was labeled and marked as intended for photos, but I took my label maker and I labeled, I don't know if you can see, with the sizes. It looks like it's backwards because I'm using the front-facing camera. But size 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, etc., all the way up to one that is size 10 and up, because I don't have as many of those sizes, so I just put everything that was 10 and above in the same box. But I've also got a couple of boxes dedicated to the cords for my interchangeables, some notions, and crochet hooks down in the bottom. But I went through the needles that I had gathered in my roundup that we did a month or so ago, and I just dumped everything I had into a drawer so to go through at a later date, and that later date was yesterday. So I went through all those, and I have a lot more because obviously I have some like whips on needles, and I have those bags of projects to be frogged. They're all on needles. So once I frog those, I'll have more needles to put into these cases. But what I did was I have a note card in each box. And on that note card, I wrote down each, like, because I put all of the needles of that size in the same box. I didn't like separate them out by brand or anything. So on the note card, like say in my size 2s, I've got a couple of fixed size 2 needles of varying lengths. I've got several interchangeable tips in size 2. I have Chowgu. I've got a couple of Haya, fixed circulars, that kind of thing. So on the note card, I just wrote out exactly what was in each box so that my plan is, and I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I was on the next episode, I was going to talk about this more I explore, but I'll just let you know. I downloaded an app called Knit and Note. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's on Instagram a lot lately. So I downloaded it to see what it was about, and I'm actually really enjoying it. But one of the features is it's got a place where you can record your needles. You can record your stash and record all of the needles you have, your inventory of needles. And so I'm going to take those note cards and use those note cards to enter my stash into the app for digital safekeeping. But this will help me stay organized with my needles. I'm really excited about it. That's how I spent a little bit of my evening yesterday. I also organized my knitting cart. I don't know. I'll put a picture right here of my knitting cart. I organized that. I did some work for the Space City Yarn Meetup. And I didn't knit much this week, I will say. I did knit. I knit this test for Jane for the kits for the meetup. I'm very excited. I'll talk about these real quick. So last week I had to go back, and I had started the cuff of this in size medium because I thought I could do a small, but that's not how that worked out. I tried it. I got through to about here on the last one and tried it on, and it did not fit well. I got it on, but it was tight, and it was too tight to be pretty and comfortable. So I frogged it and I recast on in a size medium with 64 stitches, and I've tried this on and it fits wonderfully. This is the Barbara Sock 2.0 by Summer Lee, and I'm doing it in hot knit yarn, Icy Troll. This is their Jimmy sock base, and it's soft and it's comfortable, and the color is gorgeous. But it's just a ribbed sock with a lace motif down one side, and this lace motif will carry all the way down to the down through the foot as well. But I cast on the cuff, I did the cuff, I did the leg, and I stopped right before I would start the heel flap and gusset. And that's how I knit my socks in tandem so that I don't get through the first sock and then have second sock syndrome. But so I stopped there on that one, and I cast on, and I'm knitting the second sock's cuff. I'm almost done with the cuff. I've got a little bit more, and then I'll do the leg, and the heel flap and gusset, and then go back to the other sock. But I knit on those this week. That's how far I got this week. This is my take with me sock project right now. And it's a little more time intensive because of the lace repeat. I'm not an avid lace knitter. And so, and I mean, it's an 8-row repeat, this lace pattern, but it's constant. And so I have to constantly remember. It's not super difficult to remember or figure out where I'm at. Like if I, but it's enough that my brain doesn't want to keep it in my head. Like I have too much else to remember. And so the capacity of my brain to remember an 8-row repeat for a lace that isn't even the entire like circumference of the sock, it's only 14 stitches. But still, it's a little much for me at this point. And so this is I need to concentrate sock, not a mindless knit sock. But it's so pretty. I'm super excited about it. That's that. That's one whip that I got the chance to work on this week. I also have started, so last week I showed you, I think, my knitting for olive heavy merino in dark moose. And I think I showed you my finished sleeve for the nurtured sweater. I finished the sleeve one for nurtured sweater, tried it on, it's wonderful. Cast on the second sleeve, knit it all the way, finished it, and then when I put it on scrap yarn to cast on because after you knit the first two sleeves, you cast on the body, the hem of the body, and knit bottom up the body. And so you start with the ribbing on the body. And so when I put this on hold and I was like, okay, I gotta change back to my ribbing needles to start the body, I realized that when I knit the cuff, I never changed to the bigger needles. I stayed on the cuff, the ribbing needles, for the entire second sleeve. And so for a little bit, I felt really, side by side, can you really see that much of a difference side by side? I couldn't. They're about the same length. One might be a tad longer, but with blocking, it's not that bad. Jane said it wasn't that bad. The perfectionist in me was like, you have to frog the entire sleeve and do it again with the right needle. But I don't have time for that. And Jane said it was okay. We were sitting at Tejas Brewery knitting and talking, and she had me try them on. She had me put them on. I wore them to see if they would be okay, and she said they were fine. She said, don't worry about it. And so I have been working on the body. I cast on the body and I'm knitting that right now. I've got a few inches of it done. I am hopeful that it turns out the way I wanted it to. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's fun. It's a fun little repeat, but and it's 40 inches. It's the 40 inches, and I keep holding it up to myself to kind of get a picture, like, how is this going to be on me, right? And I'm pretty sure I have gauge. I measured, and I'm pretty sure I have gauge. I'm at gauge, but this actually is easy stitch repeat to remember. It's a 4-round repeat, but like every other row is a knit row, and you just have to make sure that you're kind of it's easy and kind of mindless, sort of mindless. You just have to remember to just kind of every now and then check in with what you're doing and what you've done and make sure that you're on the right track. But that I've been working on. It's my second nurtured sweater, so I'm pretty familiar with the construction. And other than just silly little mishaps like not changing your needle from the ribbing to the main body needle, everything's going as planned. So that's just a little thing that I kind of have been working on. The other thing that I worked on, I don't know if it's rainy here and it's getting dark outside, so the light probably is changing a little bit. But it's warm and cozy in here. The other thing that I've worked on this week that I'm pretty excited about was my halibut sweater. I am, I don't know if you can see this, I am only 18 rows away, 18 rows in the colorwork chart away from being finished with the colorwork and being able to, I've been rubbing against the microphone. Hope that wasn't too terrible. But I'm only 18 rows away from finishing the colorwork chart and then separating the sleeves for the body to knit the body. I'm super excited. I haven't tried this on yet, and I kind of am almost afraid to try this on right now. I may try this on later and put, right here, it'll be magic. I'll put a little picture-in-picture clip of me kind of trying it on. Hopefully it looks nice and feels, now that I've put it on some waste yarn, I took it off the needles just to kind of see, you can never tell when it's on needles exactly how it's going to be, but I put it on this waste yarn and I kind of held it up, and seeing it like this instead of all scrunched up on my needles really is exciting to see. And I'm really excited about this mock turtle neck. I can't wait to try this on after I finish filming so that I can have some B-roll for the picture-in-picture and to just kind of see how it's going. But I've been really excited about it. I did meet Gage. I measured. Belatedly, I've almost all the way done through the color work when I finally was like, maybe I should just see what I've got going on here. But I'm at Gage. I'm in love with the colors. This color together, the masala for the walk collection, and this kind of subtle soft pink from the lemonade shop is just, I'm obsessed. Look at that. It's going so great. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Some of these things, sometimes I feel like I get so into I am a process knitter. I love the process of knitting, and if I start to feel pressured to finish things, like I have been kind of lately, kind of going back and forth with this on, well, I won't have a finished object to show people next week. I've barely had time to knit. What am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? I'm not going to worry about that anymore. I may not have finished objects for you guys other than little tiny projects every now and then, because I love the process. And if I want to cast on, I cast on, a new whip. There's nothing like, I'm going to probably go wind some yarn to cast on a square of my sweet shop blanket later this evening. Or now that I've seen this on the screen and how exciting that is, I may try to finish up these rows. We'll see. Who knows? But I sometimes, the act of stopping and looking at this stuff every now and then when I'm getting ready for these episodes, which is the whole point of these podcast episodes, was to hold me accountable and kind of be a benefit to me as well as to you guys. But stopping to kind of plan for these episodes and sit back and say, okay, let's look at these projects together. Let's look at my whips. I see these and it's kind of invigorating. It renews the enthusiasm I had when I first, because the longer these, with the increases between each, like here's one marker and here's the next, right? With the increases that happen as the repeats go from like being a very short repeat to being more and more stitches. And so as the repeats get longer and longer, it's harder and harder to memorize the stitches, right? When I first started out here, it was only a few stitches to remember, and I could remember the repeat. I wouldn't have to keep looking at the chart every time I got to the stitch marker and had to do the repeat over again. But as it gets wider and wider and more stitches, longer repeats, by the time I get to the end of the repeat, I've forgotten the first half of it, and so I have to look at the chart each time I get to the stitch marker. And so it's taking longer and longer to get through a round. And so that, in knitting this again, because this is my second one, and the first one I knit was so long ago, I forgot why it took me so long to knit the first one. It took an obscene amount of time for me to get through the colorwork yoke of the first halibut sweater I knit, because the repeats take so long in the end. You rush, you speed through the first half of the yoke, and then you get to the second half when it gets longer repeats and it slows down and you're just slogging through. And yes, I'm enjoying it, but at the same time, it's slow going. And I'm so excited to get through it that there's just a point near the end of the color work where it's work. And so that's where I'm at right now. It's work, and like I really want to finish it, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm going to. That's probably what I'll do later is work on this. But I was excited to see it off the needles and try it on. One thing I have noticed is that, like, I go back and forth. Look at my floats, guys. Look how great they are. I'm pretty proud of them. They look great. That's one thing I've kind of enjoyed about this this pattern. I like this pattern because the floats are pretty short comparatively. Like when I did my Miss Arena, there are some floats in there that are massive. They're long, and if you don't catch them, you are gonna have problems later. Made that mistake, won't make it again. But on here, they're pretty short. That's gonna be exciting once it's finished and I'm on the body. I think I'll get through the body pretty quick. It's DK weight, so it'll be fast. But so that's what I've been working on this week, and we'll continue to work on. There will be more progress next week, I'm sure. I was going to talk about plans for future cast-ons. I talked about the Sweet Shop blanket. That's happening. We all know it is. I'm probably going to wind some yarn and cast on. But another thing that I'm doing is the Andrea, the DRK sock knit along, the annual one that Andrea Mowry is doing with the Farmer's Daughter's Fibers. They do it every year. It's for a charity, and I've purchased I didn't make notes of it, but I purchased yarn for the socks from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. I purchased sport weight. I'm going to do the sport weight version of the socks. I think they're the Oxbow socks. Can't remember. There's something, but I'm doing it. The cast on is cast on for the knit along starts on November 28th, Thanksgiving Day. which is my birthday. So I treated myself to the yarn, which arrives this week, and I'll cast on and do that. So that's something I want to try and finish these socks this week if I can, so that I can be done with those socks and start the new socks. Look how dark it got all of a sudden, guys. This is gonna be the worst. But I'm almost done, so it'll be okay. But so that's what I plan to cast on. Other than that, it'll pretty much stay the same whips for me. I think that's pretty much all I've got going on to talk about. An hour for this podcast episode, but just a quick reminder to go check out my Instagram page, Space City Yarn. Take a look at my linktree there, and RSVP if you're local. Please come join us December 8th at St. Arnold's Brewery from 11 to 1. We're gonna get together and have a great time crafting, whether it's knitting, crocheting, anything. And Jane will have kits available for $5 for her candy cane Christmas ornament for us to work on together. If you'd like to. No obligations. If you just want to bring a project that you're working on and work on that, that is more than enough. We're just happy to have you come and join us. But until next week, I guess I'll say happy week, everybody, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. If you are enjoying these episodes, please subscribe and like. Leave comments if you have any suggestions, and I'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.